Good morning, everyone. This is our video presentation for today's lesson, Unit 4, Lesson 3. We're going to be talking today about using artifacts and images in order to generate ideas for your upcoming reflective essay. If you notice from our agenda today, we're doing two things, but most of the class will be for time to you to work on your assignment. So turn to your academic notes. In your academic notes, you're going to watch two video clips. The first one is the opening 5 minutes of the movie Up. And what I'd like you to do in your academic notes is answer this question: how does Pixar or Disney use elements to tell a story without using words? So watch this. If you click on the link here, it will take you to an article, and watch the video for 5 minutes and make a list. The second thing that I'd like you to do is listen to about 5 to 6 minutes of a TED Talk. This is done about 10 or 11 years ago by the CEO of National Geographic, and they hire some of the greatest photographers in the world. He's going to show you a series of images at the beginning. And the question that I want you to, as you're looking at these different images, is think of what are some of the techniques that these great photographers use to tell a story with single shots. So those are the two questions to answer for your academic notes. Both of those opening slide hopefully lets you realize the power of images. We've had a lesson on this previously, but today we're going to use it more in terms of using an image to generate ideas for reflection. The famous photographer Dorothea Lange, who's responsible for this iconic photo on this page, she also took a lot of other series of photographs in her life. One is a lot of photos from the Japanese internment camps. Anyway, one time she talked about that a viewer must be willing to pause, to look again, to meditate with each of the pictures. I want you to think about that with your own pictures that you have taken as you get ready to write a reflective essay. To illustrate an example of using an artifact for a reflective essay in class, I'm sharing each one of you in class should have received a copy of this article, My Father's Sketchbook. If you're not with us, please, I don't have a hard copy or an electronic version of it. It's a student from BYU this is the essay that she wrote for her reflective essay for her beginning writing class at the Y. And it just is a good example, kind of a springboard of what I'm looking for when you write your essay. What she does is she uses her father's sketchbook of drawings to recall a bunch of different things, but the purpose is not about the sketchbook so much more is she's using her father, what she finally realizes about him, and then eventually what he reveals about her. So get a copy of that if you're not with us in class. To illustrate what you're going to do today, I want you to find 10 images or objects around your house that would be used to make good reflective essays. And so I did this assignment as kind of to model it for you. So I walked around my house and I looked in my phone and on my computer to find some different things. This first one is an old newspaper. That's me about 3 decades ago, a lot younger. And if I were using this as a springboard to write a reflective essay, rather than writing what's going on in that picture, I would focus more on the person in that picture as a teacher as compared to me as a teacher today, and how that teacher or that me is different than the one today as far as my teaching career is done or has gone. This is a picture that I found on my computer. These are my two oldest granddaughters. They are now in their teens. Both of them are here in one moment of one time, kind of doing the same thing. But since this picture is taken, they have different hobbies, different interests. And so I would want to talk about, even though from the same family, how we are so vast in our interests and our what we enjoy in life. This is a trip from a vacation that my husband and I went on a couple of years ago. We went to South Carolina, to a little town in the middle of the state called Wagner, South Carolina, to find the gravesite of my grandparents, and also to find the street of my last name. And so a lot of people on that street are some relatives that I don't even know who they are. So this would be these relatives that, I see their tombstone, I see their names, but because this is my biological dad's side, and he didn't raise me, and I haven't been around that family at all. Who are these people is where the angle that I would go with that essay. This is an example of when we cleaned out my mother and father-in-law's home after they both passed away. My daughter came one afternoon to help us, and we found all sorts of what we thought were just crazy treasures. Why would you keep this? In this part of the story, she was laughing. In there, if the video sounds kind of weird, that's kind of what happened. Anyway, so back to this particular pictures that I found on my computer as well. So we were cleaning out their home, and we were kind of laughing at what kinds of things people keep, and we were just this whole, my daughter put on this crazy vest that we found in a drawer. A couple hours after she put this on, and we had a good laugh, my mother-in-law's younger sister happened to come by the house because she knew we were cleaning it out. And she told us that that was a project that my brother-in-law, who's older than me and has extreme cerebral palsy, did when he was about in 4th grade. And so in my mind, because I know how crippled his hands are, I'm just thinking, what we laughed at, what we made fun of, it really is a treasure to think of how he even used that needle to get in there. So for this would be more of treasures that might not look like treasures. That's where I would go with that particular image if I were to write one. Now this one is a 1930 census, and my father's name, my biological father's name, and his family's in here, like kind of in that area. Because I didn't know any of them, I learned their names, and I've been able to do some research through Ancestry and kind of make connections of the family that I don't know, and whether or not what this essay would be some similarities to the stories that I'm learning about them, and how they are like I am like them, without ever having to have lived around them. This one is an old box that we have downstairs, and I actually brought the box with us. So it's a crazy thing that my husband got one time while we were at the Jazz game. This is an Al Jefferson shoe. It's size 18. It has his number on it. Long story short, he ended up winning these things. And so, of course, at the time we thought this was so cool. And now it's just a useless pair of shoes since he no longer is with the Jazz, and kind of fits in that category of junk that you collect. And then finally, this is one of my former colleagues. Her name is Retta. I had the opportunity to be her mentor teacher when she began teaching. Retta had recently been married, and within a year she was pregnant, and within a year she also found out she had cancer. She ended up dying 2 years later, so I watched this 6'3", looked like a linebacker type of a teacher, just wither away, and her story, so standing tall. I mean, she taught 2 weeks before she passed away. In class, I showed this little figurine. It's something that she gave me, and I put my ring on it every night. And so even though it's just a simple little ceramic, every time I see it, I think of her. And this would be about what she taught me and how I am a better person for knowing her such a short time. So with that idea, then you are going to go home and actually in class, think of not memories, think of things around the house, browse through pictures that you have and make a list of 10 possibilities. From those 10 possibilities, you're going to write titles for each one. So you'll have a list of 10 and then pick 3 that you think could go somewhere. Like for all of the things that I've shown you today, I would probably pick that census thing. I would probably pick the picture of my daughter in that crazy vest and talk about my brother-in-law and how what he has taught me. And then probably my 2 granddaughters at the piano bench and their stories intertwined into mine. So those are the 3 that I would write on. You pick your own and add that to your memory assignment. You will be turning all of that, the memory assignment along with this assignment in next time. You'll notice in Skyward it's worth 50 points. So print it out and be ready to start your rough draft on your selected memory from either a photograph, an artifact, or just a memory from last time's exercise next time in class. And that's our lesson. Thank you.